Omelets can be tricky to make, but this interesting old pan that I found at the thrift store promises to make the perfect omelet every time. Does it really work? Well, today we're going to find out. Hello and welcome to I Want to Cook. My name is Chef Matt, and yes, today we are tackling omelets. But actually we're going to try an omelet shortcut using a pan like this. Now I'm sure you've had an omelet before, but in the rare chance that you haven't, an omelet is simply eggs that are whisked together and then cooked in a pan, usually a pan like this, a non-stick pan. It is then folded over and then served hot like a culinary blanket that you just want to devour. One of the great things about omelets is all the additions that you can make to it, tucking into that blanket, from spinach and cheese to bacon and bell peppers. You can also top the omelet with various ingredients of your preference. Omelets are one of my go-to meals when I want something that is totally inexpensive, very quick to make, and very filling. Omelets can be served for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They're just super versatile. And I should mention that in addition to the classic folded omelet, there's also French rolled omelets, and there's even an open face omelet like that frittata that we made so long ago. But most common is the folded omelet, and unfortunately a lot of home cooks have trouble making those. Sometimes the eggs stick to the pan, or maybe you try flipping it and it just goes all over and makes a mess. Or even if you get the fold correct, maybe you overcook it and the whole thing becomes crumbly, or you undercook it and you've got a stream of oozy eggs in the middle. No wonder that a lot of people just order their omelets out at a restaurant. But the purpose of a pan like this classic Miro, is to easily churn out omelets, well, that are almost foolproof. We're going to make an omelet in this thing, but first a quick overview of what this is, because my gosh, isn't this thing so cool? So I found this pan at the thrift store a while back. It was only a few dollars, and though I'd seen others kind of like it before, I'd never seen one like this. I mean, it even has recipes written right on the front and back. That is just so cool. But this was made by Mirro, and Miro was actually a really big aluminum cookware company. They were based in Wisconsin, and their roots actually go back to the early 1900s. And according to the internet, Miro at one time was the world's biggest producer of aluminum cookware. So yes, this has an aluminum outer housing. The inside, I'm honestly not sure what it is. It's some sort of like non-stick surface. I'm not quite sure if it's a non-stick thing or if it's like an enamel coating, but whatever it is, I found that it works pretty well. Now this pan was made here in America, I'm assuming back in Miro's heyday. I have no idea how old it is, but if I had to guess, I'd say, I don't know, 50, 60 years old. If you're watching this and you have any idea of how old this pan is, please let me know in the comments below. Now the Miro brand is still around, but they're part of a bigger conglomerate. They still make some cookware, but well, they're not making anything like this, and they're certainly not making it here in the good old US of A. But all is not lost if you do want to get a pan like this. I know that modern ones are made. I obviously haven't tried those ones, but well, let's see how an omelet works out with this old guy. Okay, so here's how this thing works. You basically just set this over the burner. We're gonna put this on low, and I found that this heats up pretty darn quickly. We're gonna add a couple pats of butter to each side of the pan here. And what's cool about this is that you can cook the eggs on one side and then you can add ingredients on the other, or you could even cook something else on the other side. Maybe you wanted to cook bacon on one side and scrambled eggs on the other. You could do that if you didn't want to use it specifically as an omelet pan. But Anyways, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're gonna make an omelet. And you can see how fast this butter is melting. I mean, that's pretty darn quick, and that's one of the nice things about aluminum cookware is that it heats up very, very fast. So tell you what, let's add some spinach here. We got a few spinach leaves. We're just gonna put this on one side, let this start to cook, let this start to wilt. Now I've got 3 eggs that I've whisked up here. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna put about half on one side of the pan, just like that. And we're gonna put the other half right in here along with this spinach. And basically we're going to cook this just like we would as if we were making an omelet in a traditional pan. We're just gonna kind of let the bottom set and move this around. See how fast that's cooking already? That's really neat. Now the idea and beauty of a pan like this is that you don't have to flip the eggs yourself. You don't have to do that thing with the wrist. You don't have to bother with the spatula to flip the eggs and potentially make a mess. It's really easy because this is hinged so that it'll do the folding for you. So I think that's pretty ingenious. So you can see that these eggs are already starting to set really quickly here. It doesn't take long. So see, these are just coming together really nice. And we'll just kind of let some of this uncooked egg go down there, seep in the bottom, and just let this set. So I like to add a little cheese in mine. I've got some grated cheese here. And again, we'll just kind of put this on this side, put this into our culinary blanket. Okay. Now here is the special part. Here is what, if we were making a regular omelet, might be a little bit treacherous. We're going to do the flip, and all it takes with this pan is, well, and we just flipped it. We just folded that omelet. Now what's gonna happen is those 2 sides of the omelet are going to come together like 2 continents, and they're gonna form one. This is going to be the Pangea of omelets. So we are going to let this cook a little bit longer. It only takes about 2 more minutes or so for everything to set up, and then I will show you, well, what this thing produces. Okay, let's see what this thing turned out. So we will lift the lid here and look at that. We've got this big, beautiful, puffy omelet. Now I found that another great thing about this is it's pretty easy to get out of the pan. So usually I can just scoop it out, or I can just flip it like that. And there we go. We've got a nice omelet. Now this browned a little more than I would like, just because I kept it on the stove longer while I was rearranging cameras, but this is still a really nice browned omelet. If you obviously like yours a little less browned, well, don't try to shoot a video while making this. But let's flip this over, and you can see we've got this nice spinach. I'm gonna add a little more cheese and some fresh parsley right on top. And take a look at this. We've got a beautiful omelet from a vintage omelet pan. Still works. Looks good. Let's see how it tastes. And you know I'm a hot sauce lover. This isn't sponsored or anything, but I found this at my neighborhood market recently, and I've really been enjoying it. This Yellowbird habanero hot sauce. Really good stuff. So let's take a bite of this. Really, really good. And it's hard to see, but you can tell that the middle is really nice and cooked. There's no ooziness. Everything melded together just perfectly. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, made in a snap. I should also mention that I found the inside really easy to clean. Just some dish soap and a sponge, and everything cleans up really nicely. So yeah, I think this old pan is wonderful for making omelets, especially if you are omelet adverse and you only order them at restaurants for fear of messing things up. This is kind of foolproof. So if you're at the thrift shop, or maybe you're shopping on an online site and you see one of these vintage pans and you want to make omelets, I'd say totally go for it. And of course, they do make modern ones of these as well. Same process, so it should give you really good results. Let me know if you buy one of these or if you have one of these and you cook with it. Okay, trivia time. Last week I asked you to identify the world's smallest ore, and no, it's not the world's smallest ore. It is indeed a citrus peeler and slicer, and the way it works is you have this sharp end that you dig into the skin of a citrus fruit, and then you've got this paddle part that you just reach under and take that skin off, kind of like a shoehorn. So if you're the type of person who really just kind of dreads peeling citrus fruit, well, something like this might help. For this week's kitchen tool trivia, boy, do we got a special one. What could this thing be? It's got this crank, it's got these blades here. What could this thing possibly be used for? If you know the answer or have a guess, put it in the comments below, and I will of course let you know what this thing is and what it is used for in the next video. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Until next time, I hope you want to cook.